of our how-to section, I'm going to do a video breakdown on how to identify coins to buy. Now, this is a really important subject matter because, it forms the basis of how we position ourselves in the market, both from a sell point as well as a buying perspective. Now, I use a range of different analysis when I am doing my analysis on the charts and looking for positions to buy and also looking to sell my positions. I use a series of concepts known as ICT concepts. So I look at the power of three, I look at fair value gaps, market structure, and liquidity. But also I have a really good understanding of Wyckoff and understanding accumulation and distribution ranges, as well as understanding volume behind that too. Just from when I've done heavy research into that aspect of trading and the concepts behind that. And it's really aided me in my understanding of how markets move and how they book price and how they distribute and accumulate orders. So it's a really good topic to just sort of push some of my knowledge onto you guys, so then you can understand what I'm looking at on the charts when I am looking for things to buy and hold long term, and what I'm looking for targets to be. And I think the best example to give you is going to be Bitcoin, because it's the market leader right now. You can see it's took its all-time highs before anything else in the market. Well, not everything else, because FET has took its highs consistently, but it's took its highs and being the market leader, that's drove prices and everything else upwards. But a lot of altcoins are still yet to look like this. We're still yet to see this phase in altcoins right now. We're generally just seeing this phase, and sometimes even this phase in some altcoins, depending on what we're looking for and what we're looking at. So, breaking down this chart in particular, based on understanding of ranges, I'm going to give you a bit of background context first. So if we start with this range up here, you can see we put in this high here, we put in this low, and then price essentially started to stagnate. It formed a range, swept the highs within that range again, and then distributed to the downside. And then what's important to note is, as we come back into a discounted market, we re-accumulate, we form another range, where essentially we take the lows and raid liquidity as part of that accumulation. We then expand to the upside and retest off the range highs here, before then putting in a new all-time high. We also form another range as price puts in this low here and it puts in this high. We sweep major liquidity from the all-time high, create that range bound condition, sweep the highs, and then distribute lower. And you're starting to see that consistent pattern where we sweep opposing liquidity before distributing, we sweep opposing liquidity before distributing, opposing liquidity before accumulating. And if we apply the same logic, we have a redistribution phase in the market here, where we have an order block located there with a fair value gap on the weekly there. And you can really break down the concepts, by applying them all together. And this is also a Wyckoff redistribution range, where essentially we create a range bound condition, we sweep our highs again, and then we distribute. And we always target opposing liquidity in the market. So that was here, just like from this point, the market targeted that external range liquidity, and then come back to target all internal range liquidity as well as external later on. And then if we look at the lows, now at the time I was looking at this and I was looking at it to be a range between here and here, as well as up here. And as we formed this range, I was looking for these lows to get swept and us to form a bottom to then push prices into these key levels up here that I mapped out back in 2021. November 2022. So if we use the same context of this chart and we now understand what Bitcoin was doing, it's discounted, it's sat in an accumulation range, it takes liquidity from the lows, and then we see an expansion to the upside. That expansion is then accompanied by a retracement back into a key level, such as that fair value gap there, as well as that breaker block there. After taking that low, it becomes a breaker block, and then essentially we target liquidity on the highs as well as into that fair value gap here. And as you can see, all the market is doing is expanding, retracement, expanding, and then we have a consolidation. What are we doing? We're consolidating below resistance with liquidity targets, and essentially we are accumulating orders for the market to expand to the upside. The market is only ever doing four things. It's either consolidating, which is accumulating and distributing. It's either reversing, which is a sweep on liquidity. So a reversal is defined as a sweep on liquidity, is how ICT defines it. And then there is an expansion, that's another phase, and retracement. So as you can see, the market goes through a series of consolidation. It then goes into a reversal condition where we sweep liquidity. After that reversal condition, we have an expansion out from the liquidity, and then we have a retracement back into an expansion, into a consolidation, and then back into an expansion. So what can I reasonably expect the market to be doing after taking the all-time high? I would expect a cool off. I would expect a potential reversal condition to come into the market. And then I would expect a cool off in prices back into a discount, just like we have done as we took the liquidity here, and as we took liquidity here, and we cooled off. So I would only naturally see it be fitting for us to have swept liquidity and to now just be in a bit of a cool off phase, coming to discounted prices before higher. But getting back to the understanding of the ranges and applying it to altcoins, because at the end of the day we want to position ourselves in altcoins because it's much better gains, right? At the end of the day, it's going to be, you may be getting another 100% out of Bitcoin here, 150% to its all-time highs again. Whereas altcoins, you've still got a lot of potential to get ×3 or ×5 in the market. Even 1,000% is available to all-time highs on some coins. So we really want to get an understanding of where altcoins are at, where we want to buy, and what phase are they in the market right now. That's the important part, is finding the framework to trade in. So with Bitcoin, as we've just broken down, we have that range, we have that reversal condition, and then we have the expansion out of there. What we want to be looking for now is to position ourselves in the retracement, expecting there to be another expansion move to the upside. And that is essentially what we're looking for on altcoins as well. We want to be looking for lagging altcoins that haven't yet done this. They've not yet properly expanded to the upside, but they have created a range, or they may still be in a range. They have swept liquidity either internally of the range, internal range liquidity, depending on the coin, or external range liquidity, again, dependent on the coin. They all have different characteristics in price action. So what we're looking for is this whole setup of accumulation, reversal condition, expansion. And we want to get in as prices are either in that retracement phase, which we are seeing right now in the market, or within a consolidation, a reaccumulation phase in the market, where essentially we are retesting the range highs that we've just broke out of before going higher. And that is what we want to be looking for altcoins. That is the whole basis and the context at which I am finding these coins and presenting them to you, based on the idea of accumulation and understanding volume, as well as the market narrative context and framework that we're trading in. alongside obviously understanding candlesticks and fair value gaps and your patterns. But the main thing is applying the context for me personally, and getting that deep understanding and not just following, fair value gaps and order blocks. So if we give you some examples just to trade and get a bit of an understanding, let me just find one. If we go to VRA, so you can see that the market from a higher time frame perspective, we've got that swing leg in price there and that swing leg, and this is the bearish leg in price. Up here we've got a premium, and down here we're at a discount, and here's sort of the 50% level between them. We are trading in a discounted market still. And when you compare this chart to Bitcoin is at its all-time highs up here, and we are still below the 50% region of this swing leg in price. So this altcoin is lagging, just like quite a lot of lagging. And what I'm looking for is that range condition, and you can see that we've put in this high here, and if we project that across, you can see all this price action has formed between this high and this low, and there's the main range. But you can also take a line between there, because price is unwilling to trade lower than that area right there, because after this explosive move it is still corrected 68% down into this region here. So price did correct heavily and into the 0.62 fib, so we can reasonably expect price to react off it, especially after a move like this. But ultimately we're still in this accumulation range, where we've now seen that body close, giving us confirmation that we're breaking out. And what I'm looking for now is we're in the range, and I'm looking for buys in discount in these regions. That's the 50% region right there, and then here would be sort of the reversal area that I'm looking for price to reverse from. So what I'm looking for is that range condition where we're ultimately still lagging relative to the highs, the higher time frame, the all-time high, and the bearish higher time frame fractal in price. I'm looking for price to be contained within that range, and preferably in a discount. And then I'm looking to essentially accumulate and just DCA as price continues to come down into these regions, with a DCA strategy that's personal to me, and it needs to be personal to you. And then I'm holding out for weeks to months to capitalize on the higher time frame trend going higher, with the whole premise of this being an accumulation range in a discounted market, expecting it to catch up like many alts with Bitcoin that is at its all-time highs. And you can see, the volume coming in at these lows here, and it's starting to come into the market here. And here, as we break out, you can see the massive volume on this candle here, confirming intentions to go higher. Volume is cooling off now as we're retracing into a key level, so I can only expect a sharp reversal to be coming into the market with increased volume, just as we start to increase volume coming up here as we move higher and as we increase here. So that is the premise of what I'm looking for. I'll drop another example so we can get another idea. So this is sand, and we'll also look at the monthly as well, guys, because we want to jump onto the higher time frame, and even the 3 month gives us a really good perspective. But I think right now the weekly charts show you the best ranges for you guys to visually be able to understand and see them. But on the 1 month, you can pretty much see this quite clearly here. We have this initial low get put in, and where are we at? Well, we're in this bullish leg of price action here, which is a yearly swing in price, and we're correcting into a discounted market down here. Well, not down there, but in this region here. And where is that located? It's located within this fair value gap as well as in this monthly bullish order block where this move originally expanded out of back in the bull market of 2021. And this has corrected a monstrous amount from the all-time highs, 96.75%, and it's still 93% down. So that's a big indicator that it hasn't moved yet. We're nowhere near all-time highs. This coin in particular is a gaming coin that was really popular in the last bull market. It had a really good narrative behind it, some great partners, and it's still one that's consolidating within a range on the higher time frame with price yet to really expand. So you can see we've formed a range there where we've had that high, that low, and that high, and this essentially created a range. We took the range low, swept it again, giving one more false breakout, no volume on the lows whatsoever to suggest that there's no selling presence, and then you see the volume kicks in as we push back into the market. So the volume is supporting price action back into the range and ultimately into the range highs and into this high up here. But the narrative is yet to be woken with gaming. I think it's very much lagging. You look at Mana as well, Axie Affinity, that's also lagging in its range. So gaming is really yet to do anything. It needs a little prod, if I'm honest. But when that happens, coins like this, they're going to explode, honestly. And it's going to be really good because when you position yourselves long term and you're still in this range, and even to the highs, you're making a nice gain. And then when you start to consider the other liquidity targets within this leg here, you're really on to make some good money. And you've just got to identify this range bound condition. It's an accumulation profile, and it's essentially a profound low and a profound high, preferably with volume coming in, as you see there, the highest volume in a very long time as the market puts in that low. It's a sign that there's a market participant that has entered the market at that price, as well as it being a manipulation back into these levels here. But it shows that someone has entered the market with volume, and then price has been sustained for a long period of time above that. Approximately 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months almost. It was contained above this low. So there's a lot of liquidity below there. Price sweeps it, takes all the liquidity. So someone already entered here in a large position. They've just liquidated everybody else and essentially accumulated a load more orders after taking the stop losses and essentially making traders capitulate their holdings. And then all it's done is it's then had its reversal condition where we've expanded out of range, we've took support on this order block here, and now we're just starting to target the range high. And when things really start to get tasty, I'm expecting price to run to the upside just like all the others have. Phil, another one that has pumped quite a lot, but in reality it's still contained within its range. If you take a good look at it, you can see that price put in the initial high here, put in the initial low there, and all price has done is it's just accumulated within the discount of the range, and it's distributed here. But essentially, with it being such a big range, market participants will be buying and selling and accumulating orders here, because on a whole this is a discount relative to the premium at which the market was trading at. We're back in the old accumulation range here. So personally, you're still buying at a good region. You're in a premium right now. I would personally look to be buying at $6 on this one. Anywhere between $7 and $6 on Phil would be an amazing buy before it really goes to take out this range high here and expand into these key areas when the market picks up with altcoins. And the same context applies. As you can see, we come into volume is flat or it's low in the previous cycle. We come into a key area. Why is it a key area? Well, we're on the monthly. That's the previous accumulation range where price expanded out of it. this is discount essentially, and that is a premium. So we're back in discount. The market has put in a profound high and a profound low, just like it done here, where we ranged between that point and that point. We're ranging between that point and that point. What's volume doing while we're in this range? You know, we're seeing increased volume as we're trading within this range. What's that a suggestion of? Personally, it's a suggestion of accumulation, because there's a large distribution of orders. Price isn't moving, but there's a lot more volume. Why is that? Because there's a larger distribution of orders than there is to move price in one particular way. And then you can see as we come into these lows, there's just next to no volume in the market because there's no interest for this to go lower. And then price, ultimately, after that point, all the accumulation has taken place. There's no more liquidity on the lows. So price then targets the liquidity on the highs, on the range highs, and you can see that expansion come into the market as price starts to expand. You see that volume come in, and we haven't even broke out of a range yet. You know, so you're still getting in at great prices, and you should really keep an eye out for coins that are still accumulating in their ranges. You know, Mana is another example with that gaming coin. The range is defined by here and here. You could argue that it's also defined within that bound, and price has swept it, just not as much, and we've started to push up. And what are we doing? We're setting up bullish order flow right now to essentially continue that expansion to the upside. And remember, just relaying it back to the four conditions the market is in. We're either consolidating, which is what we're doing right now on the higher time frame. We're either reversing, which the market has done on the higher time frame. We are expanding, or we are retracing. And what's playing out here is a multitude of that. It's consolidating, i.e. accumulating in this higher time frame range. But within this accumulation, we've had a reversal. We've had indications of an expansion after that reversal, because it's a sweep on liquidity is a reversal condition. And then now we're starting to see bullish order flow establish itself within this accumulation range. So you are getting in ultimately as price is just establishing its bullish order flow. What a fucking amazing place to be buying coins right now, like this one and like the other ones I'm sharing, because when you apply the context and narrative, it actually makes sense. And it's not just buying because price, there's a high there and there's liquidity there and there's structure to target. It's more than that. You know, when you apply the higher time frame context of what has price been doing the last year and a half, and when you look at it from the higher time frame, and all of these coins are discounted, they've all been in the bear market. What have they been doing? Behind the candlesticks, it's accumulation and distribution. Behind the volume, it's accumulation and distribution. If you can understand that, you can position yourself accordingly, find the right opportunities in the market, and then buy, hold, because this is a month to month time frame. I'm expecting this candle to be forming across this entire month, and then, you know, it's not going to be another potentially 3 months until prices at these levels. And I've bought this one as well, so I'm going to be holding this for multiple months and riding the trend, because you make an intelligent, smart, calculated decision and risk at these levels, and then you just let your decision ride itself into profit as you ride the higher time frame narrative and framework that I've mapped out. And that is what I've done for ICP. It's what I've done for DOT. It's what I've done for pretty much all my buys so far. But ICP has definitely been one of the better performers, alongside FTM as well. That has been a really good one. And I'll just put some context behind these buys. So I bought FTM at 23 cents as it come into this candle here. As we wicked into this order block, I bought a chunk of FTM there, and then I held in drawdown through these months here. And then when I've been in profit, I finally took profit at the $1 level up here for approximately just over a 400% gain in the market. And it took me, let's have a look, I got filled on that candle, and it's took me 275 days before I've took my first take profit. So put that into perspective, guys, right? I'm not buying coins with the intention to flip them the next week or the next month. Some coins, I do like to trade them short term. Some of my buys will be shorter term, and I will express that. But a lot of the coins that I'm buying them with this higher time framework that I'm putting together and explaining to you right now. And with that in mind, don't expect to be instantly in profit. You can be in drawdown for a series of months, just like I was in drawdown here for essentially, 122 days is how long I was in drawdown for. So, you're never going to time the market perfectly. You've just got to have a good understanding and have faith in your bias and your belief of your analysis, essentially. And if that means following somebody who has the knowledge and the experience and the confidence to be able to call the market and position themselves and hold on to these positions for a year plus, in some cases I have done here, and not be fucking selling prematurely at these highs thinking it's resistance, and sticking to the biases that I mapped out like a year ago now. It's finally come to fruition. You can see, and you can reflect on it in my Telegram and my previous videos. But it was all mapped out on that premise of these being accumulation. You can see the higher volume coming down into these areas. You can see it slopes off. We take the low. What do we have? A reversal condition. We have an expansion out of that reversal condition. And what do we have again? We have a retracement back into the key level before then another expansion to the upside. So what am I expecting? If there's only 4 cycles in the market and we've just finished an expansion, well, I'm expecting a retracement in the market before another expansion. So if we just apply that same context to every other fucking chart out there right now, including total 3 and 2, including total, we've had an expansion phase out of, key areas, out of a range, and all we're doing is retesting before going higher, or we're pulling back into pre-discount before going higher. And that is what we're seeing right now. And that is how we should be looking at coins. And that is how we should be making our decisions on what to buy. We shouldn't be chasing coins that are at all-time highs every new day, because you're going to get stung in the ass eventually. Whereas if you try and buy coins that are still accumulating or just breaking out of their accumulation ranges, then you're really in a good position, because you're getting in just as the breakout is occurring to ride that long-term trend to the upside, or you're buying in the accumulation range itself, which is even better. So with that said, we'll end it with just this last example on waves, where you can see price has put in this high and low there, and we have that reversal condition, as you see there, with the sweep on liquidity. And it does the exact same here. We put in that low, just like sand. We sweep it. We target the range high. So what have we had? We've got a consolidation. It's an accumulation. And as you can see, we've got higher volume in this accumulation range, signaling there's a large exchange of orders. There's accumulation going on at these prices within discount of this larger range. And price has now broke out with a body close on the monthly, indicating to us that this is going a hell of a lot higher. And with that being said, what are we returning to after this expansion? We've got a retracement, and we are retracing directly into essentially this bullish order block here with that body close there, pull back into that region before going higher. And that is what I'm looking for on waves, just like the other altcoins that I've mapped out. With all that being said, guys, I think I'm going to leave it there. I think I've made it clear as day just how we should be looking for coins to buy, how to identify coins to buy, what we should be looking at, the different characteristics, what we should be analyzing on the chart when we come to it. We should be looking at volume, we should be looking at the higher time frame swing in price. Where is the chart relative to Bitcoin? if it's looking like this, Bitcoin is at all-time highs at these levels, and the chart looks like this, you're still very early, and this is yet to do an alt season and go higher. So don't be afraid to get a bit of skin in the game and DCA as prices are coming in. Don't message me in fucking a month or so and say, is it safe to buy when the coin is sat here? The idea is you want to be buying in the breakout or in the accumulation range, because we know that price is ultimately going to break out to the upside from these ranges. So why not position yourself with that trend and make some money along the way? And that is how we do it. I hope that helps. If there's anything you need clarity on, drop me a message. I'm always happy to help in the Discord. And have a great night, guys.